This is UMAR AHMED for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Maryland.
They've sent you out. I mean, I'm not gutted about that, but I'm just saying, what is he just? He's in Kazakhstan, isn't he, or something?
He's back in Essex now.
Okay. Kazakhstan, Essex, same kind of thing. Have you grown, by the way? Have you lost weight or something? You're like 6'4".
6'2".
Are you? You're taller than 6'2".
6'3" maybe.
With your heels on.
We will talk about this card tomorrow at the weigh-in. We'll do a quick 5-10 minutes.
Oh, right, okay, see you Yeah, okay.
But there's a lot I need to discuss.
Okay.
Let's start with last weekend's event. Not in Glasgow where you were, but in Brooklyn. Wilder's first round knockout. What was your sort of reaction?
I thought it was fantastic. I thought he did exactly what heavyweight should do, which is go in there and knock people out. I thought it was exciting. I mean, he got wobbled himself early on in the round, and that's what he does. He's erratic, he's explosive, he's vulnerable, but he's extremely powerful and extremely dangerous. And that's what people love to watch. People love to watch heavyweights flatten heavyweights, and Wilder does that very well. So, you know, I have to give props to him and say that it was a good performance. You know, obviously, you got AJ beat Brazil in 7 rounds, like 6 fights ago in his 17th fight. And Wilder cleaned him out in a round. So it's kind of like laying down the gauntlet and saying, that's me done. You know, because we keep talking about this period of heavyweight fights, Wilder and Joshua and even Fury, where it's like, Wilder's done. I said to everyone, just keep winning. Just keep winning. Make sure you win. Don't slip up. Wilder went in there, bosh, 1 round, all over, and he's gone, okay, AJ, over to you, mate. Madison Square Gardens, let's see what you got. And now it's on AJ. Next week at the Garden, the pressure's on him to put in a performance that makes people say, fuck me, he's an animal. And that's what we're looking for.
You mentioned it. You've gone on record many times comparing Joshua's win against Molina to Wilder's. Of course, now people say Wilder stopped him in 1 round. Yeah, we're going to compare that like they did with Joshua Brazil, Wilder Brazil, Joshua Molina, Wilder Molina. So can we read anything into that?
No, it was more impressive than Joshua's stoppage because it took him 7 rounds. So, you know, it was different stage of Joshua's career. I mean, he just won the world title. He was 16 fights in, he was a complete novice. And he had glandular fever, but that makes it sound like it's all made up. I've said that before. But, you know, when you compare the two, although Wilder did get tagged, which of the 2 performances was more impressive? Deontay Wilder's. Which of the performances when the Molina fight was more impressive? AJ. So, can you read anything into it? Yeah, you can read that it was a more destructive, decisive performance than AJ did a few years ago.
Now, Wilder spoke to Sky Sports afterwards. Adam Smith had to kind of push him.
Yeah, I think Adam wants the fight so bad. We all do. So it's like he almost wants to say to him, "Come on, what? We want it." And he said to him, "But we want it, Deontay." So I couldn't really make too much of the response, the interview, because I know what I'm being told behind the scenes.
Ortiz.
Yeah, no, Ortiz, Konaki, you know, the Ortiz fight being done, and then Konaki and etc. So I just, you know, I want to gamble. That's what I want to do. I want them to want to gamble. We all know it's a gamble for everybody. Yeah. One minute AJ's the big favourite. Next minute Wilder knocks someone out and he's the big favourite. But the whole point is, are you ready? Do you want to do it? That is a fight that has become not just the biggest fight in boxing, but one of the biggest heavyweight fights of all time. I mean, George Foreman actually said this is the biggest heavyweight fight of all time. I mean, in terms of the revenue it'll produce, I think he's right. But when you start hearing people like that say things like that, that gives me a fucking hard on, because it's like, sorry, that was a bad example, but it does, because we could be involved in that, right? And AJ wants this fight so bad, and I know there is a chance AJ can lose. I don't believe he will, but I want to gamble. You know, we all want to gamble, but do you want to gamble? You know, this isn't. I'm tired and done of, you know, he said this and she said that, and you're, you know, it's just that, mate. Do you love the sport? Do you want to gamble? Do you believe in yourself? see it, believe it, achieve it, or whatever they say.
That's Tunde, isn't it?
No, I don't know. But whoever says it. And people say, oh, Eddie don't want to. Like, I know, I'm old enough and big enough to know that if AJ loses, it's not great for Matchroom. Who cares? It's sport. Do you want to gamble? Yes, I want to play. I want to gamble. So do you want to gamble? Deontay, Shelley, Al, do you want to gamble? Do you want to put your balls on the line? And these guys are the guys that are really putting their balls on the line, but we all are, as businesses and as organisations, as broadcasters. But that's what sport is, isn't it? It's like when you get to the top and you play the very best or you fight the very best, it's always a gamble, but that's the exciting thing. So fingers crossed that AJ can beat Ruiz next week, and that will be the message. Not Ortiz next, not Konaki the one, next, because we want to put it on them. You know?
Is he going to be there, Wilder?
He's been invited, I believe. I don't know whether he'll show up, but it's like, you know, we need to say to Deontay, no more Ortiz and Konaki. And I saw he said, like, well, maybe I could have 3 fights with Ortiz. Who wants to see that? Oh, you're rolling your eyes, but the whole public are rolling their eyes. So it's like, just let's do it now. After the AJ fight, I'll be in New York for a week. Let's meet and get it done. Right? Whatever it takes to get it done, let's do it, because this is a chance for the world to stand still and watch boxing. The sport we love, the sport we want to see grow, the sport we want to see flourish. And the only way you do that is to make these kind of fights. Imagine how big this fight is. I mean, this is massive. And you know, people say, yeah, it'll get bigger. Well, I might lose, and then we've spunked it all. Imagine how much you'd kick yourself if someone got knocked out and it's like, oh my God, we just lost Wilder Joshua. The biggest fight in boxing, one of the biggest heavyweight fights in history. That's what we're talking about now. So I can only tell you from Anthony Joshua's side, the only fight he wants if he beats Ruiz is Deontay Wilder.
The people behind Wilder, as you said, have been very vocal in saying that he's going to fight Konaki, Ortiz.
Yeah. Why would you do that?
And that could go to 2021.
But why would you do that? I don't understand. Let's just break it down. Why would you want to rematch Luis Ortiz when you can fight Anthony Joshua? For, I don't know, what might be 3 times the money or whatever but forget the money, for the undisputed heavyweight world championship. Why would you want to fight Ortiz? And no disrespect to Adam Konaki, I really like Adam Konaki.
Good fighter.
Why would you want to fight Adam Konaki? No, but why would you plan to fight Adam Konaki? Like, people might say, well, Andy Ruiz is, you know, of a similar level to Adam Konaki. Andy Ruiz came in at 6 weeks' notice. Do you think now we're going, what we're going to do is in March next year, we're going to fight, I don't know, Povetkin or Brown. We're going to rematch Povetkin next March. Fuck that. We just want Wilder. So we have to say, and the fans must continue to put the pressure on. Put it on me. I don't care. Like, I'm trying. Put it on Wilder. Put it on AJ. But you don't have to put it on AJ, because trust me, he's asking me all the time, when? And he knows there's nothing we can do if he won't take the fight, Wilder. But why would you plan to rematch Ortiz? No one wants to watch you rematch Ortiz. No one wants to watch you against Konaki. They all want you to fight Joshua. So let's put the pressure on and say, now, not 2020, not in 3 fights time, now, next. But first of all, as I've told AJ this week, last week, the week before, June the 1st. Do not slip up. Because Ruiz, and I know people say, oh, Ruiz, trust me when I say, this little fucker is going to be letting his hands go like a pest at Madison Square Garden. He's going to be swinging to try and knock out Anthony Joshua. Do not slip up. And that's got to be the focus. When the job is done, all the attention and all the pressure is on Wilder to even sign this fight, to talk about the fight, you know?
Well, he has talked about it, but he said even on a 50-50 split, it might not happen.
No, he said he didn't even want it on a 50-50.
Is that what he said to the boxing boy?
Yeah, but like, I mean, which is mental. I mean, to even be I mean, you only got to look at the stats, the tickets sold last week, the viewing figures.
How many were sold?
I know what was announced. I'm hearing there was 5,000 or 6,000 tickets sold, but you speak to people in the game, they'll tell you the same. But whether people want to believe me or not, but I know the viewing figures were less than the Ortiz, and actually the same as even the Stavern fight. And I would have thought there'd been so. But I'm not here to discredit him. He's a massive star, and he's a brilliant heavyweight. So he deserves a huge amount of money for that fight. Does he deserve 50-50? We have to sit down and talk with AJ. Am I ruling that out? Not necessarily. That's a decision for Anthony Joshua. But all I'm saying is we've got to make it. Even if just Deontay come to New York, sit in a room with AJ after the fight, touch wood, he gets the win, and just talk and try, because we've just got to say it just takes someone to sort of sit down and go, guys, and I haven't even got to say this to AJ, guys, you have to make this fight. This fight is massive, monumental, historic, defining, and it's undisputed.
God forbid it doesn't happen next.
Yeah.
What is there for Joshua next?
He's got to take care of all his mandatories. He's got Usyk as a mandatory. He's got Pulev as a mandatory. Again, they're decent fights. They're not Wilder, but if Wilder will not fight him,
you've got to move on. Yeah.
Of course, we've got to find an opponent, and you've got to take care of your mandatories as champion. So, he also likes the Ortiz fight, but again, if Ortiz is fighting Wilder, that looks unlikely. So we just got to get on with business. That's what we got to do.
Talk to me about Joshua Ruiz. I know you just mentioned it. Ruiz doesn't look the greatest, but we know in the trade that it's a serious fight.
Yeah, listen. Again, it's a weird one because normally, this is one where the casuals look at Ruiz and go, "Well, he ain't in Joshua's shape." But the people in boxing go, "Fuck, that's a much tougher fight than Miller."
Kind of flip.
Yeah, it has. So it's just a case of us trying to. Your job as the media to speak to all these people in boxing and listen to what they say about Andy Ruiz.
Canelo's spoken highly of him.
Canelo,
Jesse Vargas,
Oscar, Jesse Vargas, Freddie Roach, even Dillian White, all these people, Joseph Parker, obviously. It is what it is. He's in with a top 15 heavyweight who is very lively, very game, live, wants to knock out Joshua, first ever Mexican world heavyweight champion. He's a good kid actually, and he actually genuinely believes and wants to win this fight. So I've said it all along, I wanted someone that will come to fight, that will come to try and win, and that is Andy Ruiz. And by the way, it's an absolutely epic night of boxing. I mean, you've got this. Let's just roll this back a little bit. This is not just an epic night of boxing. This is an epic night of sport. You have got Liverpool against Tottenham. This is one of those nights, Umar, where you just book it in, right? And you say to everybody, "This is what I'm doing. My weekend is over because I'm going to light the barbecue at about 6 p.m. We have a couple of Coronas early doors, right? And then we're going to have a hot dog. We're going to have a couple of burgers and everything. We're going to keep the beers going. We are going to watch Liverpool against Tottenham in the Champions League final, right? And then when that's done, we are going to switch it straight over to Sky Sports box office. We're going to put the boxing on, and that starts right after the final whistle. Buatsi, Coyle Algieri, Josh Kelly against Ray Robinson, which by the way is a brilliant fight.
Smith and Dam.
Katie Taylor going for the undisputed championship. Then the unified world heavyweight championship. It's a monster night. AJ in the ring about 3 o'clock in the morning, but from 11 o'clock, solid championship, world championship, undisputed fights coming in. This is a brilliant night and weekend where you can really just sit down and digest the boxing, the Champions League, everything. And I can't wait for next week because this is our real big breakout night. It's going to be sold out of the Garden. Like I said, Unified World Heavyweight Championship, Ring Magazine, World Middleweight, Super Middleweight Championship, Undisputed Women's Lightweight World Championship, and prospects as well. And I can't wait. It's Madison Square Garden. I have to pinch myself sometimes that I'm getting a chance to promote the Unified World Heavyweight Championship at Madison Square Garden. This is a place I went as a kid. When my dad used to take me, I was trying to nip in backstage and be a cheeky little fucker. Now I'm promoting the World Heavyweight Championship there. I am so honoured to do that, and I am so proud of AJ that this young man has got the chance to defend his World Heavyweight titles at MSG. It is a special occasion.
Eddie, when we was having lunch, you told me Buatsi's opponent.
Nice lunch, wasn't it?
Beautiful. Wish we got that back in the UK.
Yeah.
Anyways,
we just
be announced?
so probably today. It's a good fight, as you know.
Yeah.
and it's a good solid test for him. We want him actually to probably kick off the broadcast straight after the Champions League, and then you've got Coyle Algieri, is such a good fight. Josh Kelly, Ray Robinson, again, speak to people in boxing, massive step up for Josh Kelly. Then Mundo, Callum.
That fight's been getting a bit of stick and damn.
I don't know how. I mean, some bloke went to me, oh, you criticised Billy Joe's opponent, and Dam's a former world champion. He's boxed Lemieux, he's beaten Murata. I mean, he's a decent world level fighter. But will he beat Callum Smith? I don't believe so. But Callum Smith is going to defend his world titles at Madison Square Garden in a competitive fight. And then Katie Taylor fight is just a brilliant fight, and it's a chance. It's the biggest night of her life, and look at what she's achieved. So it's going to be a brilliant event.
Eddie, quickly want to mention an interview Ortiz did with the Boxing Voice. I'm not sure if you've seen it. He said, his manager said that you're telling half the story. The messages off your phone, you're reading like half of them, and Ortiz also labelled Joshua as an easy fight.
We'll take the fight then. Take the fight. I mean, what part of, when you're reading half the messages off the phone, right? What part of, this is where we're at right now, $6 million, rematch at $10 million, comeback fight at $1.5 million. No reply. Monday the 22nd of April. My friend, this is it, finally. $7 million for June the 1st, $10 million for the rematch if Lewis wins, and a comeback fight at $2 million. Let's talk. What part of I'm not reading the messages out, or the conversation? Bullshit. You fucked up. You didn't take the fight. You cost your client $7 million and a shot at a world heavyweight title. And why didn't you take it? Why? Is there something you're not telling us? Or did you just not want it? Are you getting $7 million to fight Deontay Wilder? So, we'll see. This is another example of people not letting fighters take life-changing opportunities. So I hope that when Deontay Wilder fights Luis Ortiz, he gets his $7 million, and good luck to him.
Spoke to Michael Hunter yesterday, did an interview with him. Yeah. He said that no offers were sent for the Joshua fight, is that correct?
I can't tell you if an official written offer was sent, but the money was discussed. We talked money with his team. They told us how much they wanted. Did we make him an official written offer? I'll have to check. Maybe not. But we talked how much he'd need for the fight, etc., etc. I won't say he nearly got it, but he was right up there. It was just...
Him and Hasim Rahman believed, though, he was kind of a smokescreen. You were never interested in that.
With all due respect to Michael Hunter, he's not, I wouldn't use him as a smokescreen. He's a very good American heavyweight who we represent. So, of course he's going to be in the mix. But there was a mixture of things. One, a little bit of style. Two, I didn't feel like he'd been in a big enough heavyweight fight yet. And I feel like he's going to get a shot at the world heavyweight title if he keeps winning. He's already beaten Bakole and Ustinov. No disrespect to... Bakole was a great win, by the way. Bakole can really fight.
Well, Billy Nelson was saying he's
an he is, and I don't think he was 100% that night, and I think he will be back. Ustinov is done, but he still beat a big heavyweight, and he just got to keep winning, and I'm sure he'll get a world heavyweight title shot.
Let's talk about Stevenage, Billy Joe. I'm guessing you didn't watch the fight.
I was in Glasgow.
No, but you didn't catch up on it or anything.
I watched bits of it. Were you there?
Yes.
Good crowd?
Decent.
Yeah.
It's his hometown, so it's okay. You've got a smirk on your face.
No. Listen, I won't say a bad word about Billy Joe, other than he turned down the Andrade fight, and he could be fighting, if he beat Andrade, he could be fighting Canelo for the undisputed fight for eight figures. And I don't know why he's chose not to, but he has now picked himself up a world title fight against a guy I've never ever heard of. So let's see if he can be in big fights now.
Well, he said he wanted to do that two-weight world champion thing, and now he's open to fights at 160 and 168.
But he's not going to get any fights at 160. You can't say, yeah, I'm open to fights at 160. You just turned them all down. So you were made mandatory to Demetrius Andrade, right? You turned it down.
Did you see what Ben Davison said?
Well, he said, I don't want any of...
You don't want to let Andrade near Bill.
Okay, so we 2 weeks out, or 3 weeks out from Demetrius Andrade's fight with Billy Joe Saunders, that we accepted as the mandatory. Okay, let's just make this really clear for people that fail to understand things. Demetrius Andrade signed with us, really inactive, wanted just to get him some fights, you know, to keep active and get him moving again. WBO called a mandatory. In fact, I believe that mandatory was called because Billy and Frank Warren said, let's make it now. Andrade won't take the fight, right? And he's not really been active. So let's put it on him now. Puts it on him. I sit down with Demetrius. Demetrius says, I'm taking that fight. I have to. Like, I've been called as mandatory. It's a shot at the world title. I believe he can win. So he's in, right? He's accepted the fight. The deal's done. 3 weeks out, Billy Joe Saunders fails a drugs test. Okay? So at what point did we not want anything to do with Billy Joe Saunders? Then Demetrius has a defence. The WBA turn around and say, Billy Joe Saunders is now mandatory. Okay, no problem. So we negotiate the fight. We make him a huge offer to win that fight, Canelo, and he turns it down. What part of they want nothing to do with Billy Joe Saunders does that make any sense at all? So I don't understand. What I will tell you is Billy Joe Saunders is a very, very, very good fighter. He's also very difficult to beat, but he's not a fighter you should fear. And Demetrius has signed up to fight him twice, and Billy Joe Saunders has pulled out both times. Once because he failed a drugs test, and once because he pulled out the fight. So I don't understand. Well, I didn't see the article, but I saw your tweet with Ben Davison says Demetrius Andrade doesn't want anything of Billy Joe. I mean, unless that was your clickbait, and if it was, I apologise to Ben Davison, but you tell me. He said that we don't want to fight.
I asked him what's next for Bill, and I said the Andrade one might be a bit personal because it's an old title, and he said no, I don't think Eddie's going to let Andrade go near him.
I'm baffled. I mean, he was mandatory. He had the shot. He turned it down. So, but again, I think Billy Joe. I like Billy Joe. I think he's a funny bastard, and I think he's a very good fighter. So, you know, is there a fight to be made with Callum Smith? Yes. You know, that's something Callum's going to fight here. That's a possible.
Have you spoken to Joe Gallagher about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just a case with Joe. I mean, John Ryder's the mandatory. That's going to have to be dealt with at some stage. Also, I think Callum's not far from moving up to 175 at some point. But, you know, certainly open for that. Open for all kinds of fights. Danny Jacobs' fight with Callum Smith, I think he's a great fight. He's going to be moving up to 168. It's a big fight. So yeah, look, for Callum it's all about getting back in the ring. I want Callum to box 3 times this year, and his first fight's on June the 1st, so he's going to go early September and then December. So, you know, but I was surprised that Billy turned down the opportunity to get in the mix to fight Canelo.
Okay, Ben also said that you're good at media manipulation. It was about Tyson Fury, Dylan White. He's basically saying Dylan White's team just rejected it point blank. They didn't even want to meet discussing that fight.
There's never been an approach to meet. Frank Warren has been approaching Dillian Whyte. I saw that interview where Frank said he just won't meet me.
Yeah, Ben said the same thing.
Because Frank Warren wants to sign Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's not interested. So no disrespect. That's a bit like you just constantly emailing and phoning Cheryl Cole going, can we meet? It's like, no, I'm not. Why would I want to meet you? So that's the situation there. There's been no discussions about a Tyson Fury fight. What happened was, the WBC said, we'll make a final eliminator, interim world title fight, between Tyson Fury and Dylan White. And Tyson said, no one orders me to fight anybody. I'm not fighting for a final eliminator. And I said to you, why would he fight for a final eliminator when he's just turned down a world title fight? Like to fight the guy who he'd be mandated to fight if he beats Dylan White. So Tyson Fury came back out and said, I will fight Dylan White for the Diamond Championship.
Knock him out in 6 rounds.
So we've written to the WBC and we've said we accept that. No problem. So we're fighting Oscar Rivas, then the WBC will order Tyson Fury against Dylan White. And Tyson Fury will have to confirm after his fight on June the 15th whether he's true to his word and he accepts that fight. So we will see. Ben Davison, Mr. Eddie Hearn, Media Manipulator Limited.com. Alright? We will see. So after June the 15th, we've said to WBC, please order that fight. Okay? Which They've confirmed they will do. We're getting the final resolution done now. And we will see if Tyson Fury will fight Dillian Whyte next after June 15th. Like he said he was.
That's going to have to be on ESPN though, isn't it?
Don't care where it is. It won't. It'll be called to purse bids. So it's a straight. Dillian will be number 1. Fury will be number 2. So should actually be a 60-40 to Dillian, but 50-50 is what it will be. We don't want to. If there's a great offer, Dillian will take it on ESPN. If there's not, we'll go to purse bids. See what happens. But Tyson Fury's confirmed it. He'd have to confirm in writing to WBC that he accepts that fight, and we will see. And Dillian Whyte will fight Tyson Fury, no problem at all.
Thing is though,
when you say about media manipulating, he's just pulled out of the Deontay Wilder fight to fight Tom Schwartz.
I was just going to say this. Why would he take a 50-50 split with Dillian Whyte?
Because he's just come out on social media and gone, I accept the fight with Dillian Whyte. Let's go, let's do it. Diamond Championship, it's on. So on one hand, I say things that are manipulating things. He comes out to the public and says, I accept the fight with Dillian Whyte. Okay, let's go. Let's go.
This whole diamond belt thing.
It's all rubbish. I'm not interested in a diamond belt. I'm interested in Dillian Whyte against Tyson Fury. It was a great fight. But Dillian Whyte wants to fight Deontay Wilder. If the WBC is saying he has to go through Rivas and Fury to get to Wilder, so be it. But now, he's got to beat Oscar Rivas, which is a great fight on July 20. And as soon as Tyson Fury wins on June 15th, WBC will say, right, you're in for this, we're ordering this fight, yes? And then he's got to confirm if he'll do what he says he'll do, which is fight Dillian Whyte.
When do you expect to hear back from the WBC about Whyte Rivas?
It's all ongoing. It should be today. Whyte Rivas, I'm very confident will be for the interim world title. It has to be, yeah. Stop mouthing behind the phone. Tell the camera. It has to be. And I believe the WBC will do the right thing. I don't believe he should have to fight Tyson Fury. He should just be mandatory. But that's fine. If we have to fight Fury, no problem. So order that fight as well. And Tyson will have to confirm that he accepts that fight. Let's go. In the words of Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher, let's go, baby. Let's go.
With that Snapchat filter.
Yeah, it was great. And mine. I think we should do a whole interview with Snapchat filters, like different ones.
That would be great.
It's had 1,000 retweets or something.
Jose
Philip Hergovich is a unit, by the way, isn't he?
Yeah, talk about Philip tomorrow. Jose Burton's left you?
He wasn't under contract with us.
Okay, but he was doing a fight.
He was never under contract. I've never had a contract with Jose Burton. I was giving him fights. I like the guy. We made a big offer to MTK for Jose Burton to fight.
Craig Richards.
No, to fight Joshua Buatsi. They didn't want to do it. It's no problem. I can't give Jose just like 6 and 8 round fight. It's not, and he deserves to be in bigger fights. So if I don't have the opportunities for him, it's a great move for him fighting with MTK because they'll keep him nice and active. And I've got my light heavyweights as well. And Jose's a good fighter that I think can do really well. And it's not, when I say this about Jose wouldn't turn down a fight. Do you know what I mean? So this is just an offer was made.
When was this made?
Oh, I think twice. Once maybe 4 or 5 months ago, once maybe 2 months ago. And they felt weren't enough money or whatever it was. But once that's the only real fight out there, I believe, for Jose is either Craig Richards, who's fighting Andre Sterling on June the 1st in the final eliminator, or Buatsi. I thought Buatsi Burton was the perfect fight. But we couldn't get it done, and now he's got this great opportunity of MTK.
It's been announced Rocky's also headlining an MTK show. What's the situation?
Still working with Rocky. MTK come to us and said, do you mind if Rocky goes on the show? We keep him active. No, great. It's like, fighters have got to be kept active. And if fighters aren't, I wanted to make Rocky Fielding against Anthony Sims Jr. That's the fight that I wanted to make. Couldn't get that done at the time being. I think Rocky wanted just to comeback fight first. Then we look at that fight or others, hoping to make Rocky in a big fight in the States or whatever he wants to do.
Impressed with Josh Taylor on the weekend?
Really good, yeah, really good. Great atmosphere. I think Josh is an excellent fighter. Thought Barancic really put up a strong effort. I think Shane McGuigan's done a great job with him. And I think Inoue is fucking unbelievable. Unbelievable. I mean, it was the first time I've ever watched a fighter where I've gone after. Like, I was going around to people saying, I can't believe what I've just seen. I mean, Rodriguez can fight as well. So
with Josh Taylor, there's rumours flying about. Obviously, just fought on Sky. You was there at the show. That he could be doing a co-promotional deal with Matchroom. Can you comment on that?
Love to. It's not something there's been extensive discussions about. For me, that deal with Calla was just I wanted that night on Sky. I thought it was a really good night of boxing, and that was it. Will we do the final? Yes, we'll talk to him about doing the final. Would we work with Josh Taylor? 1,000,000%. You know, we've got Maurice Hooker.
Yeah.
You know, he could be close to an undisputed fight there, especially if he unifies against Ramirez. I believe Josh Taylor can go on and become a pay-per-view fighter. So in that respect, there's no better platform for him than Sky. So I don't know. It's not. I can't tell you it's, you know, on the verge of being done. It's really not. You know, I think Cyclone are aware that we'd love to do something, and Josh Taylor as well. But no, let him win the series. I mean, that would be a great achievement.
Yeah. Eddie, Okoli tweeted July 6th. Are you doing a show?
We're doing a show on June 21, Friday night at York Hall, Next Gen, and July 6th at Manchester Arena. Okoli's on there. There's about 3 other championship fights.
Who's headline?
The headline will be someone who's fighting on June the 1st, it looks like. So I won't announce the headline until the night of June the 1st. Right? That's all I'm saying. So, but there's other fights that we'll be announcing tomorrow and over the weekend of the undercard of that, and then you'll have to wait till June the 1st to confirm the headline for July 6th. But July 6th Manchester, June 21 York Hall, which will be Craig Richards against Andre Sterling, final eliminator for Boazzi. Conor Benn will be headlining, Frankham, Ofer Jones, etc, etc.
Doing a lot of next gens.
This is our 3rd one this year. Yeah.
How many?
About 5 or 6 a year.
Okay. How many did you do last year?
About the same. 4 or 5, something like that.
Okay. All right, Eddie. Well, as I said, we'll talk about this card tomorrow night.
Look forward to it.
Anything you want to add?
No, all good. We're about to start.
All right, top man.
So what are you